The markets in December of 2025 have had enough volatility to knock your stockings off. Stick around for our naughty and nice list and see who's going from plum pudding to plum broke.
Hey there, I'm Blake Buttram. This is Matt Minton. We're with Arkansas Retirement and Wealth, and thank you for joining us. End of the year, December market report. We've had a lot of things going on here lately, haven't we? It's
Quite a bit.
Yeah, everybody's been watching the news between interest rates adjustments and what commodities are doing and oil prices and all that good stuff. So take it away, Matt.
Yeah, I guess the big news comes from the Fed meeting that occurred this month, and as we all know, they lowered the interest rates another 0.25%, which we were all expecting. But I think the thing that kind of shook things up a little bit that people weren't expecting is there were some officers at the meeting who had mentioned that they expected that interest rates would be higher in December of 2026 than they are right now. So the market had priced in basically a 50 basis point cut for the full year of 2026, that they would be 0.5% lower at this time next year than they are right now. But two officers mentioning that kind of threw a wrench in things.
Yeah, because like you said, it's already priced in, so who knows ultimately what's going to happen. You know, I've just been telling people to steal Steve's saying, make hay while the sun's shining. You know, while we know what rates are on, this morning I was talking to a client about an annuity product, and, you know, we felt like it was a really good time to make that decision today because we don't know what they're going to be in 3, 6, 9 months. So we've got that. We've got, I mentioned commodity prices. I don't know if anybody's been following the price of gold and silver, but it is through the roof. I remember, probably 15 years ago, I was helping a buddy move, and he had some American Silver Eagle coins. They're just gold or silver rounds, produced by the government. And at that time, he wanted like $38 a coin for them, and I thought, well, heck no, but then I started looking up the price of silver, and silver really hadn't done a lot. Well, look at it now. Today, it's over $68 an ounce. We have clients ask us all the time, what do we feel, or at least I don't want to speak for you, but ask me all the time, well, how do I view silver and gold as an investment? And honestly, as an investment, it's always scared me because it's, up until here recently, silver hadn't really moved a lot. But I sold some silver last Friday because I just feel like I don't know how much higher it can go. Now, there are a lot of people talking about it's going to go much higher, and a lot of that is due to the volatility in the world today with interest rates and, threat of war with Venezuela and stuff like that. So
or it could be that they've got silver to sell.
Yeah, exactly. It was funny whenever I was in this store. If any of you want to know a good place to sell it, I called all around town and got a guy that I trust, that I sold this to. But somebody walked in with a bunch of coins, and they said, well, they asked him, is now a good time to sell? And he said, well, it'll go up as long as it doesn't go down. I thought, that's a pretty good saying, because, who knows? He said, well, I'm betting the reason I'm buying it today from any of you is because I'm betting it's going to continue to go up, and you're selling it because you think it's going to go down. So, who knows? It's a gamble. It's just what side of the fence you're on.
Right.
So,
yeah. And I do get asked about gold and silver quite a bit, and I'm not going to say that I'm against precious metals. I'm never going to recommend somebody go out and take half their 401k and buy gold and silver with it. Yeah. Now, granted, if I had told you to do that 2 years ago, I would have looked like a genius, but I still wouldn't have done it 2 years ago, not knowing what I know now. So, there's nothing wrong with having some gold and silver, but certainly is not something that I recommend people putting a large chunk of their retirement assets into. But precious metals, I guess they make the nice list.
Yeah, there's a lot of, just one more thing on that. It's very dependent on if you are going to be buying or selling. Looking at the companies online, a lot of times they will eat you alive in fees whenever you do that. So
when you buy and when you sell.
Yeah, when you buy and when you sell. They're going to want to sell it to you for a premium, but then if you were to sell it back to them, they need it at a discount or they're not interested. So yeah.
What is it usually, like 10% You buy it 10% above spot and sell it 10% below.
Yeah. So there has to be a huge movement one way or the other for you to
Start seeing gains.
Yeah, to start seeing gains. Yep.
I guess AI will be the next.
That's a fun, interesting topic.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of growth this year. A lot of the growth that we've seen in the S&P 500, I don't know what percentage of it is due to AI-related companies, but a large percentage of it is due to that.
Yeah, the last time that I looked, NVIDIA accounted for their market cap. It was like 8% of the S&P, 8 to 9% of the S&P 500. And you know, a year and a half ago, I would tell anybody looking at that artificial intelligence that was a fad and you know it's going away. Now I pay $20 a month to ChatGPT.
Right.
You know, I use it for, I don't want to say everything, but I use it for a lot. My daughter's homework, I hadn't done that homework in 30 years, and she always makes fun of me because like I have to refresh my memory on how to do it through ChatGPT. You know, gosh, it's a useful tool. So,
Absolutely, it is.
Matt doesn't have to do that. He's a lot brighter than I am. But yeah, I don't remember that stuff from whenever I was 10 years old.
Yeah, I use it for a lot of stuff as well. It is pretty handy.
Yeah.
Just looking at our sheet here, you know, there has been a lot of volatility. Mm-hmm. So I hate to say that AI is just strictly on our nice list. It's been a little bit naughty as well.
It's so weird saying something like naughty or nice.
If you look at the volatility that's been involved, because there have been a lot of people coming out and saying that there's a bubble there in AI, that you know, anytime that you see this huge growth like this, you have to start asking yourself, you know, is this a warranted growth, or is there the price of stocks are two things. Number one, the value is part of it, but value is determined by buyer sentiment. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like people say that something is worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. Sometimes what people are willing to pay for a stock is way more than what they probably should be willing to pay.
Yeah.
And so that's what we just have to be careful of is, okay, does AI have the fundamentals and the profit margins to back up some of these prices, or are people just going crazy and paying way too much for things? And if that's the case, then what happens is ultimately there's a correction. Mm-hmm. You know, if it's purely driven by buyer sentiment, then there's always going to be a correction.
Yeah, look at the late 90s. If you take an overlay of what the market did with the dot-com bubble compared to now, there's a lot of similarities. So, you know, hopefully we learn from that. And I mean, I love looking at my account balances, and I love looking at all of our clients' account balances, because it's really nice having meetings saying, well, gosh, you made another 10 to 12% this year, but realistically, like, how long can we continue? You know, it can't go on forever, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, statistically speaking, if you look at the growth over the last few years, I mean, typically I'm not counting 2020 as a correction. That wasn't a correction.
Yeah, no.
That didn't count. That was something totally different. It came back way too soon. So I don't know. You know, hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, our models will reset in January, and I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We set a new all-time high the day after interest rates were lowered. So.
Yeah. So what else? We've got, I guess, the geopolitical stuff. You know, I mentioned the Venezuela this morning on the news. I guess the U.S. is following another tanker. I personally don't want to go to war with Venezuela. I don't think anybody does. You know, if that does happen, obviously I think that the market will react to that. I think it will react negatively at first. But then, you know, we've also still got the wars overseas that are still going on. Russia, Ukraine, that I haven't read too much into it, but there's been peace talks, but I don't think anything's been signed, and I know they haven't stopped fighting. So, you know, used to, I mean, I guess probably 30 years ago, that didn't really make a difference what happened in the other parts of the world. Now it does. You know, we're more globally connected than ever. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is what it is. So.
Yeah, and also in that same realm, you know, tariffs. Every once in a while, you know, back in April, we saw a real big downturn from the fear of the tariffs that were being talked about. And every once in a while, they get thrown around again, and the market doesn't like that word.
Yeah. Well, and the Supreme Court, I don't know when, but the Supreme Court, and they may even be doing it currently, but they're kind of, what's the word for it? The constitutionality, I guess. That's what they're trying to determine, whether the administration can do that unilaterally or if Congress has to approve it. So this morning, Hastett, I think is, or Bassett, our somebody in the Treasury, like a top Treasury person, you know, that he was asked a question, well, what happens if they do determine that the tariffs were done unconstitutionally? What happens to all that money? And he basically said, well, we're not going to give it back. You know, so yeah, I guess we'll find out, right? So anything else, Matt?
I can't think of anything
No.
other than hopefully everybody has a very Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, and remember the real reason, you know, for this season. So me and my wife were in our youth group at church, and I tell those kids all the time, and pass this on to your grandkids, but like put down your phone. Enjoy the time that you have together. I was told by a family member the other day that whenever she was my age, she's 80 now, but whenever she was my age, they used to go every Sunday and visit, you know, her mom while she was still living, and she said we'd hang out down there for hours. You know, now we're all so busy. I know I don't do that enough. So enjoy the time that we have. You know, hope you get to see this and get some takeaways from it. But we're here if you need us. So give us a shout. Our phone number is 501-623-7066. You can follow us on Facebook. We always post these videos there. And then also on our YouTube channel. So anyway, y'all have a Merry Christmas.